Texas real estate finance. So just got through doing Texas real estate finance. Just for y'all to know, it sucked. Oh my gosh, it sucked. I really messed up. I kind of did what I did in the past two with the contracts of law and agency, that I really just kind of rolled through it. I knew right off the bat when I hit the first couple chapters in it, and I wasn't quite picking it up real quickly, that it was going to be pretty darn detailed, and it was very, very detailed. I messed up. I shouldn't have just kind of flown through it still. I should have really slowed down and really kind of worked through it, because I failed the test the first time. Passed it on the second time, but failed it on the first time. I rushed through a lot of things. I really kind of studied a whole lot on the math side of it when you're doing your simple interest, compound interest, all that kind of fun stuff. And I really kind of spent a lot of time on that. There was two questions on the first test that I took. One was based off of how much is the principal going to be after 5 payments, and how much you're going to owe at that point in time was one of the questions. The other question was tied to, I believe it was a debt to income ratio is the second question. There wasn't any other questions on there on the first test other than those two. On the second test, there wasn't one math question on the second test at all. So I wouldn't really over concern yourself with the math portion of it. I really thought because it was tied to finance that they were going to hit a lot of math on this one. They absolutely did not on my two tests that I took. They hit a lot of the FIRREA, really kind of study that. I know that it really kind of tied to other government agencies purchasing property here and selling it and saving over the money and all that kind of fun stuff. It tied to a lot of that. For some reason, I had 3 or 4 questions on that. Don't know why. Don't know how it affect real estate at all. I don't even know why it was in there. I figured it just was one of those stupid questions to throw in there just to kind of throw you off. There was another couple that were really just kind of, a whole lot of the questions on there that really kind of threw me off. Really some really memorizing kind of stuff. There's so many things that I focus on that is going to be more like the novations and the terminologies of things and the laws and that kind of stuff. This didn't cover a whole lot of that. It really covered a whole lot of little bitty things. I really kind of got through the test the second time based off a process of elimination more than really kind of anything. And in saying that, I only scored a 71 on this, so it ran really close. How many recognizable steps are there in decision making? It was to me, I don't think it's really important. A portion of the loan is covered by PMI. What portion is that? Is that the whole loan, lower, middle, upper? Questions are just kind of like that. It really wasn't tied to really important stuff to me, and I think that's what really threw me off on this one on this test. So I did the first test, scored a 63 on there. Like I said in the past two, write down all your information. Keep note of every single thing that you kind of went through. That way, if you feel like you've missed a question or don't know the answer, you can go back and redo that question. Did that on the first test. About 8 of the questions that were on the first test were on the second test. And so, like I said, with me scoring a 71, me knowing those 8 questions passed me this time. So really write that stuff down and keep track of what you're learning and what you don't know. One of the cool things, again, like I said in the last video, is you can go back and do those tests later on, which I'm definitely going to do when it comes time to take the last course. Now, I have done this, again, like I said in the very first video that I made. I'm a family man. I have a child that I spend a lot of time with. I got a full-time job that I have. I'm really doing this for me to get investment property and build my knowledge. And who knows, this may be something that works out for me as a career later down the line. But as of now, it's really just something to build myself. I am bored sitting in front of this computer anymore. I am just about sick of studying. I am about sick of going through these classes hours after hours after hours, because I'm a doer. I get up and go. And I am thrilled that I'm moving into the last one. I am thrilled that I'm moving into Texas promulgated contract forms. I'm ready to be done with this. I much rather do the studying on this stuff than I do go through this entire course. So I'm beyond excited to get done with this whole process. As I've gone through, like I said, I have scored nothing above 75 on the past 5 different chapters, and so I'm dying to see how that ties into the final test, as well as how I really have learned a lot of this information. Again, I pushed through the last 2, not the finance, but the 2 before it. Really pushed through it pretty darn quick. Really starting to make me nervous about it. But again, I think there's going to be so much information and extra study tests and side tests to do later on that I don't think it's going to be any issue at all. I think if you're passing these and proctored and you're doing it correctly, which we are, we have to now being we're proctored, I think that we'll do really well on that final test. And so I'm looking at least a month and a half out, maybe the end of February, before I am a licensed realtor or taking that real estate test. And so I have a light at the end of the tunnel. And so I'm bored out of my mind. It is making me miserable, tired of just sitting in front of this dang computer. But there is a light. And so really push on, push forward, move through it. If there's anything I can do to help, definitely let me know. Online Quizlets, like I was saying in a few videos before, right around in there, go through those hard and heavy. I mean, when I pulled up the finance Quizlets, I found like 5 or 6 of them, totaling about 400 possible questions that I went through. And just like I said, I took and answered the first one wrong, submitted it, and it gave me all the questions and all the answers to it. So I could really kind of study question and answer, as opposed to not getting it wrong. And so really kind of focus on that as an option to make life a little bit easier and do this test. And again, write down everything that you feel like that you're missing in these tests. Take your notes. You'll be good. On my Texas real estate study guide, it did not match at all with my finance. And I think that kind of hurt me a little bit as well. It did not tie anything to my finance. And so it honestly was a waste for this whole chapter. And so I've turned that in and nobody's replied. So, but I did pass. Moving on to the next, and we'll see what ends up happening. Thank you guys, and y'all have a good one.